Hello students, your prelims exam is over today. I hope you have done well. Today we are here to discuss the questions from the geography which are asked in your preliminary examination. So by and large 16, 17 questions are asked from the geography exclusively, but together with the ecology, by and large 30 to 33 questions are asked. So let's see the geography questions. We are here to discuss the geography questions only. So our first question, you see that the question number 21 of set A, isn't it? So question says, among the following crops, which one is the most important anthropogenic source of both methane and nitrous oxide? So you can see anthropogenic source is asked, means man-made source, right? So second part that you have to focus here is methane, and second is the nitrous oxide. You know, methane stands for CH4 and your nitrous oxide is N2O. The nitrous oxide also called as laughing gas, isn't it? So dear students, if you are looking at the previous year question papers of the UPSC, then it is the one of the such question that is asked, isn't it? Answer of this question is obviously rice. It is the paddy field from which the nitrous oxide that is released as well as methane is released. Now question is, why methane and nitrous oxide that is released? See, you must have known that the paddy required standing water at least in the initial phase of its growing, isn't it? So whenever water is accumulated over the field, what happen? Oxygen is not able to penetrate to the soil, isn't it? So if oxygen from the atmosphere is not percolating or penetrating to the soil, it became the anaerobic condition. So that anaerobic condition is now very good for the growth of some bacteria like extremophile bacteria, right? Extremophile means which can survive in the extreme conditions. So one type or one category of that bacteria is our anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic stand for deficiency of oxygen. So these bacteria, they can survive in the oxygen deficit condition as well, isn't it? So whenever bacteria, anaerobic bacteria are present in the soil particle, what they do? They decompose the organic matter which falls from the paddy field like paddy leaves and other. So due to the decomposition, methane is generated, isn't it? So this is the concrete reason why methane is generated. Second is our nitrous oxide. Why nitrous oxide is released from the paddy field? Dear student, although there is dispute among the botanists why nitrous oxide is released, so there is no we can say the concrete study or the complete understanding why nitrous oxide is released, but still most of the plant scientists and the botanists, they believe that there is a one enzyme that lies in the cellular level of the paddy plant, cell of the paddy plant. So that enzyme is basically our cytoplasmic nuclear cytoplasmic, that enzyme is basically the cytoplasmic, let me write here, cytoplasmic nitrate reductase. This is reductase, right? So you might have studied in your science part, whenever, especially in the biotechnology, whenever A's word is used, A's, this word, it stands for cutting, isn't it? So most of the enzymes, they are written by the same name, A's, isn't it? So it is an enzyme that is present in the cytoplasm part of the cell of the plant cell. So this reductase is responsible for the breakdown of the nitrate, isn't it? So basically, some botanists, they believe that this enzyme is responsible for converting NO3 into, means it is responsible for its reduction. Reduction means removal of oxygen. So one oxygen is removed, so it get converted in NO2. Then further, one more oxygen is released, isn't it? One more is reduced. It undergoes the further reduction and it get converted into N2, one further nitrogen atom is added into it, isn't it? So this is how the nitrous oxide is formed in the paddy plant. There are two views. Be careful here, students. There are two views. One view says nitrous oxide is produced from the soil of the paddy plant, and second view, it says the nitrous oxide is produced by the paddy plant itself. Okay, but Truth is, both you are correct in their own way. Nitrous oxide is formed from the soil as well as from the paddy plant. So both are the source of the nitrous oxide. So this is the reason rice is a crop which is responsible for releasing both nitrous oxide as well as methane. Isn't it? So our answer is B. Isn't it? Now come to next question, which comes from geography. This is the explanation part. You can read it yourself. Then next one is our question number 22. It says system of rice intensification, a very very important part of your agriculture geography. So system of rice intensification in which alternate wetting and drying of the rice field is practiced. So you must observe one thing here. Question itself is giving that there is an alternative wetting and drying of the field, means water is given to the field for some time, then field is left dry for some time, then it get dried, then again water is supplied. So there is an alternative wetting and drying of the rice field, and due to that what happened, three statements are given and question is asking what happened in the rice intensification among them. So first one, that is saying reduced seed requirement. Second one is saying reduced methane production. Third is saying reduced electricity consumption. See, just apply the common sense or logic here. Most of the UPSC preliminary questions are based on the common sense. If you appear in the examination with your open mind, most of the answers are in front of you. Just you have to eliminate the wrong one and reach to the right one, isn't it? So just see the statement again. Don't you think the consumption of electricity and the consumption of electricity is by and large dependent upon the water supply to the field? Obviously yes, because 60% of agriculture in India is rain. 60% of agriculture in India is dependent upon on the irrigation, isn't it? Only 40% is rain fed, which is fed by the rain. And especially the areas of Western India or Northwestern India like Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, they are non-traditional areas of the paddy cultivation, and there the paddy cultivation is entirely dependent upon the irrigation, isn't it? So definitely electricity is consumed whenever we have to supply the water to the field. That is right. So this statement is related with the water supply to the field. So question is saying when there is an alternative wetting and drying, it means we are letting the field to dry for some times. So we are not erratically or irresponsibly supplying water to the field. Am I right? Yes, of course I'm right. So that's why if less water is required, as question itself is saying, so we have to use the less electricity. Obviously. So this statement must be right. Right? Just look at your options now. So you have to locate where 3 is written. 3 is in the option B, C and D. So 1 cannot be the answer. That is that is basically supplied by our common sense. Isn't it? Now come to the important part, statement 1 and statement 2. So to understand the statement 1 and statement 2, we have to understand what is this system of rice intensification. You might have studied it also, isn't it? So what is this system of rice intensification, dear student? Actually this method come from the country Madagascar, you know. So this was invented there in Madagascar in 1980, isn't it? So what happened in this system, we don't supply too much water to the paddy field. Actually, most of the students, they believe that or they think that paddy is an aquatic plant. Actually, it is not right. Paddy is not aquatic plant. Paddy, of course, requires a lot of water, especially during the initial phase of its growth. Right? Standing water is obviously required, but it does not mean that paddy is a aquatic plant. Right? See, whenever we supply water to the paddy field, suppose this is the field and here we accumulate the water, isn't it? And our saplings of paddy, they are grown in this field, isn't it? So see what happened. Don't you think this water layer act as a barrier between the atmosphere and the soil? So like some gases like nitrogen, oxygen, they find it difficult to penetrate into the soil, isn't it? Through the diffusion process, So the diffusion gases from our atmosphere, they penetrate into the soil, and that part is called a soil atmosphere. So in the soil atmosphere, there is a deficiency of oxygen, obviously, yes, and plant required oxygen, right? Every plant, they require oxygen for their survival, right? Because it is the cellular oxidation process that take place on the mitochondria part of the cell. So through the burning of the oxygen, what actually happen in the cellular part, C6H12O6, what is this? This is basically the energy cellulose that we consume. It undergoes oxidation. So in the presence of oxygen, it get burned, and then what happen? Carbon, and then what happen? You see, the carbon dioxide plus water plus delta. Delta does mean energy. Energy is released, and this energy is responsible for functioning of our life. It is also taking place at our cellular level as well, isn't it? So I am speaking, you are running. It is because of this oxygen that is produced through this reaction, and it is done at the cellular level, especially the mitochondria. Excess oxygen is excess energy gets stored in a form of ATP in the mitochondria, isn't it? You must have studied in your science, isn't it? So basically, oxygen is required, especially by the roots of the paddy, but oxygen is deficit in the soil where paddy is grown. So what actually plant try to do? It try to utilize lot of its energy to develop the spaces, pore spaces in the vicinity of the root, so that oxygen get penetrated from the water, from the atmosphere, so that it undergoes, its root specially undergoes oxidation. One of the studies says that at least 70% of the energy of the paddy plant is utilized in the initial phase of its growth for providing oxygen to the roots. So what happens? Lot of energy is concentrated towards the root. So what happens with the upper part of the plant? You can imagine the upper part of the plant starts uh, dying, or simply they become very dry, especially at a time of flowering season. From the flower, fruit is grown, and fruit is the paddy. So especially during the flowering season, when energy is concentrated into the root, it is a damage to the plant. It is just like a loose situation. Paddy plant will not able to grow more fruit because a lot of its flower get shutted up, right? So in order to get rid of this situation, a new system was developed, system of rise intensification. So in this method, we take care of this thing. Anyhow, we try to concentrate the energy of the plant on its upper part, not on the roots. And how we can do that? By supplying the less water. But water is required for the growth, that is a requirement. So what we do, we actually provide the optimum amount of water to the soil. It became moist, and seed get germinate, or sapling that flourished easily over there, and there is a availability of oxygen as well. So by this way, we can take the more production. So through this method, one thing is more rice can be grown. Second is, obviously there is a less requirement of seed. 50% of the seed is less required. Why? Because many seed in this method, when we flooded the field in this method, get died, right? But in the system of rice intensification, almost 100% productivity is there. Every sapling survive and produce the uh, mm, crop ultimately, isn't it? So there is definitely the reduced amount of the seed that is required. Okay. So what we do in this method, first we grow the sapling into the nursery, then from there carefully we transplanted them into the moist place, right? And with some spacing, and then each and every plant grows, so production increases, seed requirement is less. And whenever this thing is done, methane production is also low. Why? Because we have understand it in the earlier question. So you can see the link between the two questions. Earlier is asking which crop produces the methane, that is rice, and we have discussed over there why methane is released, because of the anaerobic bacteria. So here there is no accumulation of water in this rise for system intensification, isn't it? So what happened here, students? Methane will be less released. So this second statement is also right. So by that logic, all three are right. So our answer is D. Done. Come to the third one. See, next question. What it says, it is a direct, straightforward question, which is from the mapping, right? See, question is, which one of the following lakes of Africa has become dry and turned into the desert, right? So obviously, you must know there is a very big desert in the anticyclonic condition region of the Africa, northern Africa, that is of the Sahara Desert, right? And especially the western part over there is more drier. Why western part? You must have studied in your oceanography part or in the simple geography part, because the presence of the cold current over there, isn't it? Towards the western side, okay? So this lake must be present in the Western Africa. And see, the name of the lake is given Lake Victoria. You see, your Atlas Lake Victoria is actually present on the equator line, right? It is surrounded by the three countries. It is on the equator. It is the largest inland lake of Africa, right? So it is still over there. It is not dry. Second, Lake Fagubine. Third is Lake Oguta. Fourth is Lake Volta. See, actually, answer is Lake Fagubine. This is the lake which is present in the western Saharan desert part, and it is in the country Mali. Okay, you can see the location of this lake. This lake get dried up because the temperature is very high in the Algeria. There is one place Al Salaha in Algeria, that is the hottest place of the earth, right? So temperature is very high, all of its water get evaporated and area became dried. So you can see the lake Fagubine, it is in the Mali. This is the answer. Straightforward, direct factual question. There is no conceptual understanding apart from this here. Now come to the next one. Question number 24 is again the factual question. This is asked in this year prelims. Gandikota Canyon of the South India was created by which one of the rivers? You must know what is the canyon. I am not going to explain it here because it will take a lot of time. Although it is a geomorphic feature, right, which is formed by the river, obviously, but in the arid region, right, in the arid region. So see, rivers are Kaveri, Manjira, Pinar, Tungabhadra. Answer is C. This river Pinar. On this river Pinar, this Gandikota Canyon is developed. You see the picture of this cannon. This is the cannon, and this is the Pinar River. Okay. Actually, this cannon is also called as Grand Canyon of India. Right. Now, come to the next question. So this question is again from the matching. Okay. This question is again from the mapping, not matching. Pardon me. The peaks are given, and then the ranges of Himalayas they are given. So one is the Namcha Barua, and it is matched with the Garhwal Himalaya. This is wrong, right? Why? Because Namcha Barua, it is a peak, it is a gorge, as well as a name of a place in Arunachal Pradesh, right? And Gadwal Himalaya, they are not present in Arunachal Pradesh. They are toward the Uttarakhand, western Himalayan region. So first statement is definitely wrong. Namcha Barua is there, right, in the Arunachal Pradesh. So if this is the map of India, you see the location here, somewhere here is the Namcha Barwa. This is Namcha Barwa, right? So first is the wrong matching. Second is Nanda Devi. It is in the Kumaon Himalayas, right? So you can look at this Nanda Devi peak in your map. Here lies the Nanda Devi. Again, a very famous peak. It lies in the Uttarakhand region, and the Kumaon Himalayas are there in the Uttarakhand. Isn't it? So matching is right. The second one is right. Third, no creek in the Sikkim Himalaya. Again wrong. Why? Because here no creek lies. If you look at the Meghalaya part region, this is the northeastern India. So this is the Meghalaya plateau. On the Meghalaya plateau, three famous ranges are there. One is your Garo, Khasi, and third is Jaintia. They are part of peninsular India. They are not part of Himalayas. So on this Garo hill, Nokrek peak lies. It is in fact the highest peak of Meghalaya plateau, isn't it? And there is a biosphere reserve also on this peak, Nokrek Biosphere Reserve, isn't it? So this lies at the Meghalaya plateau, not in the Himalayas, Sikkim, especially in the Sikkim Himalayas. So this is wrong. So by that logic, answer is B, 2 only. Understand? Now come to the third one. See, this is the map over here also. You can locate the, although this map is not clear, but here is your Nanda Devi. There is Namcha Barwa, isn't it? Now come to the next question. The term Levant, often heard in the news, roughly correspond to which of the following regions? Right. So, dear students, this Levant word, if you are aware about the happenings around you, then you can solve some questions of UPSC. Not much, but some questions can be solved. This exam is after all about the general awareness. So, how aware you are. So, there is a one very good web series that is about the Babylonian Empire, right? So, if you see, if you have seen that web series, this word Levant is used over there. The sepoys, or you can say the military persons of the empire, Babylonian Empire, they are called as Levant time and again, right? So where it lies? That lies in the Turkey part, right? And where is the Turkey? That is basically the Asia Minor part, which lies towards the west side of the Mediterranean Sea, right? So western side of the Mediterranean Sea, that lies in the Asia, that is also called Asia Minor. So countries of our Turkey, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, they lies in this part. So obviously the answer is A, right? And you can see the map. This is called as Levant, this entire part, right? So Syria is there, Jordan is there, Israel is there, right? And some part of Turkey is also there. So this is the answer. Now come to the next question. It says, consider the following countries. So some countries are given. You can see these are the countries of Central Asia. Okay. Which of the above have border with Afghanistan? Again, a question from the your mapping that comes. Map is you can say the strength of geography, right? So if you look at the Central Asia map, you can see which countries are sharing the border with Afghanistan. There is a big Caspian Lake over there, and there are countries around this Caspian Lake. Whenever I teach the geography, I used to tell some formulas or some tricks to remember, especially the mapping part. So there is a one famous tribal custom in the Central Asia of the Uzbek tribe. That custom is called as Gatutak. And in this custom, actually, they play a horse polo like game, isn't it? Name is Gatutak. Let me write here, Gatutak, right? So I write GA towards the left side, means western side of this Caspian Sea, and the word Tutak towards the eastern side of the Caspian Sea. Actually, the word G here, it stands for Georgia, Azerbaijan, then the Caspian Sea is there. TU is for Turkmenistan, and U word is for Uzbekistan, TA for Tajikistan, and K for your Kyrgyzstan. So this is the sequence, west to east sequence of the countries of Central Asia, isn't it? And above it, here lies the Russia. So Russia also shares the border with Caspian Sea, and above all of them there is a Kazakhstan. So Kazakhstan also shares the border with Caspian Sea, and this TU for Turkmenistan. Turkmenistan obviously shares the border with Caspian Sea, and between Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan there is Aral Sea, another famous lake of this region, isn't it? Here is the country Iran. So Iran also shares border with the Caspian Sea, and Iran covers this much part, right? So this is entirely Iran, Russia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan. They share the border with the Caspian Sea, and somewhere here lies the Afghanistan. Right? So Afghanistan definitely share border with the Iran. It does not share border with the Caspian Sea. Right? But these countries, when they come below, they will share the border with Afghanistan. So see, Azerbaijan is here. So Azerbaijan definitely does not share border with the Afghanistan, isn't it? But these countries, they just lie above the Afghanistan. So there is a chances that they can share. See, this Turkmenistan shares Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, they shares. But the Kyrgyzstan, it is innerward. The Kyrgyzstan is the further one, further eastward, right? It is the easternmost. So it is here. It shares border with China, isn't it? Not with Afghanistan. So Azerbaijan does not share. Similarly, Kyrgyzstan, it does not share. So what are left? Tajikistan is sharing border, Turkmenistan share, Uzbekistan share. So answer is 3, 4 and 5. Solution is C. Isn't it? So by tricks you can solve the map question. It is in fact the better way to understand the mapping part. Now come to the next question fastly. Right. So next question. You can see the map over there also. Next question. With reference to India, consider the following statements. See, question is about the monazite sand. Monazite statement first says is a source of a rare earth. There are rare earth metal. If I ask you what are rare earth metal, right? So I hope all of you have seen the periodic table. In the periodic table that you have read in your chemistry in the school days, there are two special series which are shown below the periodic table. That one is called as lanthanide series. Second one is called as actinide series. So the minerals, or you can say the metals which are present in the lanthanide and actinide series, they are the rare earth metal. Rare does not mean that they are rarely found. Rare here is indicating that they are not present in the concentration. So they are not present in the ore, they are scattered. So unlike iron, magnesium, aluminium, there is no one fixed concentration of them. They are scattered over the earth crust. That's why they are called as rare, right? And monazite sand has some components in it, like one is the thorium, that is the rare earth metal. So statement 1 is right, obviously. Monazite is actually a sand, a special type of sand. This monazite sand, it is thorium phosphate. So it stands for TH, PO4, whole twice. So there is a phosphate, oxygen, thorium. This thorium is an important one. It is a fissile. What I'm saying? Fissile. FISSILE, fissile material. Fissile means which can undergoes nuclear fission reaction to produce the energy, like uranium 235, right? So they can undergo nuclear fission reaction. So by nuclear fission reaction they can produce a nuclear energy. So if we are searching for this thorium, if we are able to extract the thorium from this sand, we will produce our electricity or energy, nuclear energy from the thorium. And you are surprised to listen that India has the largest concentration of thorium in the world. In fact, 90% of the thorium is present in the monazite sand of India, right? And most of this sand is found on the Malabar coastal region, isn't it? So you see, Malabar, that is the Kerala coast. So here is the world biggest concentration of monazite sand, and from it we can extract thorium, a rare earth metal. So statement 1 is right. Some is found on this Coromandel coast as well. Some is found on the Mumbai coast, Konkan coast you can say, and some towards the Andhra coast. But West Bengal coast, Upper Odisha coast and Gujarat coast, they are devoid of monazite sand. It is found on the lower part of the coastal region of India. See, so one statement that says here, monazite occur naturally in the entire Indian coastal sands. So not over the entire. This entire word is a problematic word here, right? I have a problem with this word. That's why if I have to attempt this question, I must make it wrong. It is found over the Malabar, Coromandel coast, right? Some part of the Konkan and the Utkal coast, not over the entire Indian coastal plain. Isn't it? So this statement is wrong, but upper two statements, they are definitely right. And third one, and the last one, fourth one, government bodies only can process or export monazite. Obviously, if it is a nuclear mineral like uranium, right, which is a fissile, from it we can make the nuclear bomb as well. So definitely government has a 100% monopoly over it. So this statement is also right. So by that logic, our answer is B. 1, 2, and 4 are correct. Isn't it? Done? Now, come to the next question. Question number 29. It says in the northern hemisphere, the longest day of the year. This is a very, very simple but conceptual question that is asked from the basic geography part. Longest day of the northern hemisphere, isn't it? So you must know it is on the 21st of the June. This is a day of summer solstice. So on this date of summer solstice, sun rays, they are vertical over the Tropic of Cancer, isn't it? So there are actually the four quadrant in the revolution of Earth around the sun. One is this summer solstice, which comes on the 21st of June. So it is a part, you can see the representation, diagrammatic representation. This is the sun. So this is the June 20 to 22nd June, because that varies from leap year. There is a leap year concept. So we can take the average 21st of June. So on 21st of June, you see this is the equator line. Sun rays became vertical. They are inclined towards the equator. They are further inclined towards the Tropic of Capricorn. So obviously it is the longest day of the northern hemisphere, right? So you can see, you can trace out the answer, second half of the month of the June, because 21st of June. So answer is B. I think you don't have any, you must not encounter problem in such type of questions. Okay. Now come to the next question. Question number 30. It says, consider the following pairs. So wetlands, they are given. This is a, you see, this is an intermingled question from the ecology and from geography, isn't it? But we are putting it here in the geography. Wetlands are given. And why this question is asked? Because recently, in the last, this year or the last year, 10 new wetlands were added, isn't it? That's why this question is asked. So you see, name of wetlands are given and the location is matched. So one is Hokera wetland, that is matched with the Punjab. This is wrong, because Hokera wetland, this is present in the Jammu and Kashmir. Renuka, it is in Himachal Pradesh, that is right. Rudrasagar Lake or Rudrasagar wetland, it is in Tripura, that is also right. Sastham Kota is not in Tamil Nadu, it is in Kerala. A factual question, but you must remember them. So this is the map where wetlands are shown, right? Although this is an old map, in the new map, 10 more wetland sites are added that are not shown here, but you can trace out Hokera here, right? Renuka in the Himachal Pradesh, and you can see Rudrasagar is there in the Tripura, and the Sastham Kota, famous one in the Kerala, not in the Tamil Nadu. So you can trace out the answer easily. So what is the answer? Answer is B. Only 2 pairs are correctly matched and 2 are wrongly matched. Now come to the next one. Question number 40. Again, a very important and conceptual question asked from the meteorology, especially the basic understanding of the climatology part of geography. If a major storm, that is solar flare, reaches the earth, then which of the possible word is used? Because actually we don't know, right? So we assume that that will happen. That's why possible word is used. Possible effect of the solar flare on the earth, isn't it? So see, you have to understand what is solar flare. If you are able to understand what is solar flare, then you can easily solve out this question. You know, sun has the 3 layers. One, the innermost layer of the sun is called as photosphere. Understand? Surrounding layer is the chromosphere. This is a photosphere. Second one is chromosphere. There is the third one, outermost. This is called as corona. 3 layers. This photosphere part is the visible part of the sun to us. Whatever sun we observe from the naked eyes, that is photosphere. On this photosphere, the nuclear fusion reaction is taking place, right? So two, basically the hydrogen molecules, or you can say atoms, they combine to form He, He2, 4, that is helium, a lot of energy delta is released. So they are hydrogen, right? Isotopes of hydrogen. It is actually hydrogen, it is deuterium. So hydrogen, deuterium, they combine to form the helium. This reaction is actually taking place in the photosphere. Okay, and it is responsible for release of energy. This energy that is released here in a form of photon, or also called as photon, actually that is a particle that is released from there, but this is entirely the electromagnetic radiation. Entire electromagnetic radiations are released from the sun photosphere part, and photon is a particle of light. Because of this photon we are able to see the universe. How you can see me? Because the photon that is released from the light. Okay, so due to that we can see the sun and the remaining part during the day, but during the night we can't see because the photon is not reaching to the earth, towards the nightward part of the earth. Understand? See, if you very minutely observe the sun, there are some places on the photosphere where some spots are there. These are called as sunspots. And actually there is a cycle of 11 years. In 11 years the spots increases, then for the next 11 years they decreases, and they have a very wide impact over the earth climate as well as over the earth, uh, over the entire earth, isn't it? So what are these sunspots? These are the dark spots from where photon is not released. Question is why this reaction is taking place at these points also. Hydrogen is converting into helium, but why photon is not released? Because of the deposition of magnetic flux. I know things are becoming complicated and technical here, but actually this is the study which is required to clear the geography questions, right? If you don't have understanding of them, you can't solve the geography questions. So magnetic flux is deposited on these solar flares. So this magnetic flux is responsible for suppressing the convection. Convection means the release of air in a circular way. The air is released, and that air is basically made up of hydrogen and helium on the sun surface, right? So due to that magnetic accumulation over there, convection of the these hydrogen helium is suppressed. Due to that, photon is not released, and when photon is not released, that's why they are dark, black spots. Getting what I'm saying? See, but these spots, they have the magnetic concentration in them, a very very important thing. And sometime from these spots, sunspots, this magnetic concentration is outburst, means it is thrown suddenly into the universe. So when it is thrown, the magnetically charged particle, they comes to the earth surface. Although the entire electromagnetic spectrum that ranges from gamma rays, X rays, UV rays, your visible light consists of Vibgyor, infrared, microwave, radio wave, amplitude modulation, all these are sent, right? But mostly the X-ray they are sent, and with them the magnetically charged particle, they also come to the earth surface, right, towards the earth. So in other words, we can say whenever solar flare occur, the magnetic particles they are released, isn't it? And these magnetic particles, when they come toward the earth, they definitely interact with the electronic components which are placed over the earth surface or earth atmosphere. So our satellites, they have electric and electronic components in them. In your school days, you must have studied the relationship between electricity and magnetism, isn't it? In fact, both are supportive to each other. From electricity, we can produce magnetic field. From magnetic field, we can produce the electricity. Right? Remember the Faraday laws, Lenz laws, right? I'm not going into that. So basically, the magnetic light is responsible for damaging the whatever electric component. So it could be the radio signals, satellite signals, and whatever, your TV signals, all that get damaged. Right? This is solar flare. Sudden release of the magnetic charge particles as well as the other electromagnetic spectrum radiation, especially X-rays. So now you have to find out what happens in that. This is the basic understanding. isn't it? GPS navigation system would fail, definitely. It is entirely dependent upon the satellite system. It works on the trilateration principle of satellite, so it get damaged. Power grid, that is your electric circuits, definitely that will be affected. You have to find out the electric and magnetic things in the given seven statement. Intense auroras could occur over the earth, right? Auroras, they occur over the magnetic poles. Northern one is aurora borealis, southern one is aurora australis. I cannot explain the aurora here, but you must have studied it in your geography classes, right? So aurora, basically the magnetic light in the sky, right? That will intensify because of the magnetic effect, right? See, orbit of the satellite will be disturbed, definitely they have the electronic part in them. Shortwave radio communication, I already told you, right? So all these things are definitely affected, so they must be in our answer. But remember, there are two more statements. One is regarding tsunami and one is regarding forest fire. Some people, some geographers, they may argue that this will be the effect. Truly speaking, we cannot undermine them. We cannot completely neglect them, because from the solar flare, heat also comes to this earth surface in form of electromagnetic radiations. So whenever heat will come, it will lead to the melting of ice, and melting of the ice, especially the iceberg collapse from the polar region, they will cause the tsunami, isn't it? They will cause the tsunami. It is the indirect effect. It is not the direct effect. Okay, but it is the indirect effect. Similarly, obviously, the increased temperature may lead to the forest fire events over the surface. So if you ask from me, from the bottom of my heart, I must say all must be the answers. But we have to find out the logical and most close answer to the question, because that is written in the instructions. You have to find the most relevant and close answers. So I am bound to go for the options which is eliminating or which is sidelining the second and fifth statement, and that is obviously our answer. uh, what you can say, this one, C, right? In the C, second and fifth statement is not there. So obviously this could be the answer. But we could not be surprised if all of them can be given the answer. All of them can be given in the answer of the UPSC key whenever it will be released. But I must go for the C, because they are the direct direct impact of solar flare, isn't it? So one more thing I must mention here: the solar flare is also associated, sometime associated with coronal mass ejection. Not always, but sometime it is a different thing. From corona, some mass is ejected in a form of helium, right? So positively charged helium particle, you know what is helium? He2 and 4, right? This is helium. So if you look at the atomic structure of helium, in the nucleus there are two protons, and in the orbit there are two electrons. So it is two positively charged, He2 positive, He2 positive. So 2 positive does mean 2 electrons are released. So whenever 2 electrons are released, what is left? Only the innermost part, that is the nucleus of the helium, is left. So whenever nucleus is left, it is called as alpha particle. Getting what I'm saying? So in the coronal mass ejection, this alpha particle also get released. It sometime reaches to the earth surface, right? So this is the extra information that I delivered here, but we are here concentrate. We have to concentrate ourselves on the questions only. So that is the explanation. You can read it. Come to the next question. Consider the following states. 4 states are given, and it is asked generally known for tea producing state. Not usually, right? Generally means which has some significant production of tea, right? So see the answers. Definitely Kerala is there. In the Nilgiri part, rice is produced. So that Nilgiri rice is the trigeneration of Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Kerala. So it is grown in the Kerala. It is grown in Himachal Pradesh. Some varieties of the tea, they are grown in the Himachal Pradesh. In the lower part, where temperature is a little bit high, right? And it is also grown in the Tripura as well, right? It is not significantly grown in Andhra Pradesh. Although some grown in a very less amount, but general word is a irritating word for the students, right? So you must go for those states which are well known for the production of tea, at least which are having a 4, 5, up to 6th position in the production of tea among the all states in the country, isn't it? So Andhra Pradesh, it is not the significant producer. So go for the option C here. Only 3 states they are correctly matched. Now come to the next question. So this is the map also which shows the area where tea is grown, right? So although this part is showing some part of the Andhra Pradesh, but it is now the Telangana, you know. So we have to eliminate the Andhra Pradesh. Now come to next question. Again a straightforward question that is asked from the river system and the reservoir, or you can say the lakes. We can trace this question in the mapping of India as well. So reservoirs, they are matched with the states. Ghat Prabha in the Telangana, Gandhi Sagar in the Madhya Pradesh, Indra Sagar in the Andhra Pradesh, Maithon in the Chhattisgarh. Dear students, see, Ghat Prabha is not in the Telangana. It is over the Ghat Prabha river and it lies in the Karnataka. So first is wrong. Gandhi Sagar, obviously, that lies in the Madhya Pradesh. Actually, it lies at the border of Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. It is over the Chambal River. So this is our Chambal River. Over Chambal River, 3 famous lakes are there, one after other, right? So in the sequence they are present. Lower one is the Gandhi Sagar. Then it is the Rana Pratap Sagar. Then upper one is the Jawahar Sagar. And this is our Chambal River. So Gandhi Sagar, it lies in the Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat and Rajasthan, sorry. So obviously this is the correct match. Indra Sagar is in the Andhra Pradesh. Wrong. Indra Sagar, see, Indra Sagar is not in the Andhra Pradesh. It is over the Narmada River, among those 24 big dams that are developed, that are made over the Narmada River in Narmada Valley project, right? Out of those 24, 3 are big and remaining 21, I think they are small. So Indra Sagar is in the Madhya Pradesh, not in Andhra. Maithon again is not in Chhattisgarh. It is one of the dam of Damodar Valley project, right? So it is over. It is in the Jharkhand region, not in the Chhattisgarh. So 3 statements are wrongly matched, and that is asked. How many are wrongly matched? So 3 pairs are wrongly matched. That's why C is the answer. Done. Now come to the next question. See, that is shown also in the map. Next question, 72 question number from the SETI. In India, what is the role of coal control organization? Again, a straightforward question. Basically, it is overlapping of geography and governance part. So CCO is a major source of coal statistics in government of India, obviously. It releases the report, and in that report, it provides the data regarding the presence or the presence of coal in the reservoir, right? So that is right. It monitors the progress of development of the captive coal lignite blocks. That is also right. It is also the functioning. You can visit the website of this organization and then can find out the role over there. It here, any objection to the government notification related to the coal blocking? That is also right. That is a straightforward question, right? And the next one, this statement is not right. Coal mining companies deliver the coal. That cannot be the function of the organization. It is the function of the government directly, right? Ministry, some ministry which is responsible for this function is really responsible agency. This organization is not responsible for this delivery purpose. So answer is A. Okay, now fastly come to the next one. Question number 79. It is about the tea board, right? So it is from the agriculture geography part of geography part, right? So 3 statements are given. The tea board is a statutory body. Definitely true. There is a one act. See, Act of Tea Act 1953. In this act, it was established and it comes under the Ministry of Commerce, not under the Ministry of Agriculture. So second statement is right, is wrong, right? Third is also wrong. Why? Because its headquarters is in Kolkata, not in Bangalore, right? So come back to the question. First is right because it is a statutory body established in 53. It is a regulatory body attached with Ministry of Agriculture. I have a problem with this. It is with the Ministry of Commerce. Wrong. Tea board head office situated in Bangalore. I have a problem with word Bangalore also. It is having headquarters in Kolkata. So this is also wrong. The board has overseas office. That is true. It has overseas office as well in Dubai, in Moscow, as well as in London. So these are the three places where it has overseas office. That statement is right. So you can find the option 1 and 4 are right. Right. So our answer is D. 1 and 4 are right. Done. Now come to the next. Okay. So this is all about the geography questions. By the way, I'm Mansid Sharma, your geography teacher here in the Guidance IAS Coaching Institute. So this is all about the discussion of the questions from the geography exclusively that are asked in this year prelims. Although I have already told you, roughly 30 to 33 questions are asked from geography and ecology. Ecology part will be discussed separately. This is all about the geography questions. Okay, thank you very much.